Greetings, thank you, my friends and students. I'm Stan Hustad, again, for What It Takes. And many of you join me on the various online platforms around the world. Many of you watch on YouTube, and I'm very thankful that you're doing that. What I'd like to do as we come literally to the end of March and the 1st of April, in some parts of the world, people think of April 1st as kind of April Fool's Day. It's a day where you go out and try and fool somebody, hopefully in a good-natured way. But we don't want to enter into the second quarter of 2016 by being foolish. We want to do the right things, the smart things, even the good things. And it's not easy right now. The world is a challenging place. It always has been, but right now it seems, in terms of the way the world situation is going, that it is even more challenging than what we thought it should be, or well, the way it was. It may not be, but it certainly is very much in front of us right now. And so, what does it take? What does it take? May I just suggest a couple things that might be helpful to you? First of all, I want you to understand the power of what I call 2 words. Now, here's the story behind it. I was at a conference one time, and there were a variety of speakers who had a variety of points of view. Many of them were complementary, somewhat contradictory, but it had an overall theme in which everybody made their part and their participation. Toward the end of it, one of the speakers simply came up and looked around and said something like this. This isn't exactly, but it was real close. Thank you for all that you've contributed to our understanding and some of the views and beliefs and the things that are important to you and how you put them together for us so that we can better understand them. And then he paused and simply said, but we're different. Did you catch that? We're different. And then, without being accusatory or contradictory or in effect saying that you're wrong, he went on to state what he believed and how he thought and what he was proposing in the framework that we're different. You know, I've discovered that I teach a lot of people how to market and how to market themselves and their business and how to get on the radio. And as I say, first of all, we want to increase our insight, then our influence, and then our impact, and then our income. And one of the questions you have to be able to answer is, how are you different? And you have to be able to say, when someone puts all the things out there and all the views have been heard, when you say, we're different, what do you say? Now, there are hundreds, thousands, perhaps millions of people just like you in what you do and who you are and the kinds of things that you bring to the world and to the marketplace. How are you different? How are you different from everybody else out there? Part of what is the problem is many times people will take courses from even people like me, and what will happen is that they will say, well, what does it take? And we'll study somebody else's success, and then we'll try and imitate their success by doing exactly what they have done. Well, that might be helpful, but remember, how are you different? As you go forward, can I ask you to understand that what it might take is for you to understand and be able to say, we're different, or to answer the question, how are you different? And be able to do that with clarity, conviction, certainty, and power in a way that somebody might say, wow, you are different. So I used to say on radio, just let that kind of sit on your head for a while. Now, one of the things that I also have discovered is that we oftentimes have to go kind of outside the business box in order to improve our lives and business. And so recently, one of my mentors has encouraged me, and he said, Stan, we're going to talk about and think about somebody who's really different. And he somewhat introduced me to Saint Francis. Now, the present Pope of the Roman Catholic Church took as his name Pope Francis in honor of the Saint Francis. Some 700 years ago. Now, I've gone through some of the things that he talked about, and it's been very revealing to me, because what he tried to do is say, how can I live a life in which I back off from all of the usual success systems out there, all of the power systems out there? How can I find true happiness and success? And that's what he sought to do. St. Francis, okay, we said there were two words. St. Francis said there were two questions which were vital. And may I just put them in front of you? So the first question is, who is God? Now, some of you will say, well, I don't believe in God. You may be an atheist, an agnostic, a skeptic. That's not an issue in your life. Okay. Well, what St. Francis would say, and I think he's right, is, well, even that answer defines how you view the world, perhaps how you view others, how you view certainly the idea of transcendence or spirituality or other realities there. That at least puts you in a framework which influences how you do your deals, how you do your day, how you do your work. Who is God? And then once you figure that out, what difference does that make? Does it make any difference at all? Now, the second question, though, is even more powerful. Who are you? Now, I mean, more powerful in the sense you really do have to deal with this one. Who are you? And I'll be very honest, who I am now is not the same person I was 3 years ago. I hope I'm considerably better. I hope I'm humbler. A number of things have happened to me that have changed who I am. And what I was many years ago is, hopefully, and I'm grateful, not the same man I was. Who am I now? And as I seek to live the rest of my life, whatever that will allow me to be and to do, who am I going to be? What am I going to seek to accomplish? What are some of my goals? What are the things I'm going to do? So, who are you? I would just ask you to think about that. Because what I've discovered is that oftentimes people ask the small questions. Stan, what's the best marketing system for me? And what we oftentimes have to do is step back and from time to time ask the big questions. Who is God? What is the purpose of human life? What is my purpose? Who am I? What should I achieve? As one of my mentors said to me, Stan, until you can figure out who you are, you can't figure out what to do each morning. And the great management thinker Peter Drucker one time said toward the end of his life that he could no longer help a business leader unless that business leader could answer the question, how do you want to be remembered? That if they can't deal with that, I'm not so sure I can really help them. Well, these are things to think about, because what it takes is thinking, thoughtfulness, mindfulness. So may I review just very simply, okay? We're different. What does that mean? Now, St. Francis, who is God? Does it make a difference? And who are you? And greater clarity and conviction and certainty will come to you, and that'll give you greater personal power, which is vital to really figuring out what it takes. And now hopefully you know a little bit more about what it takes. Thanks for your time. All the best and blessings to you. Until next time, I'm Stan. Bye for now.